button for us. We would appreciate that. If you do have questions, you're welcome to ask them throughout, but we will have a question and answer session at the end of the meeting. Just to keep, it's going to be a larger group on tonight. It'd be easier if we can keep the questions in the chat box. And Kristen Berry will be keeping track of those for us so that we can go through them as they come in and or at the end of the night. And if everybody can just keep their microphones muted unless you have a question. If you do have a question, just let us know in the chat, and we can either address it at the time or wait till the end. So I appreciate everybody following along. Welcome to our second general PTA meeting of the school year, the longest school year ever, it feels like. My name is Brooke Fortier. I am the president of the PTA, and there are lots of us on here. I would like to introduce the board for those of you who don't know who those people are, since we're all kind of scattered around in squares. I would like, Ashley Linderman is our treasurer. She has been handling our money for the last couple of years. Kristen Berry handles our communications. So she has a role called VP of Communications. She handles our Facebook page, our Bear Blast newsletter, our website, basically anything that you find out about, Kristen Berry probably wrote it. We have Robin McLaurin. She is our VP of Programs. So she handles things like the clubs and the assembly that we just had last week. That's something that she handles. I'm trying to look around who's on here. Emily Hansen. She is our VP of Special Events. So she's our trusty event planner, although this year has been a little tricky in that department. We'll talk about that later. Tom and Wendy La, I think they are in separate squares. Wendy might not have her camera on. They are a husband and wife duo. They handle our fundraising. They are also incredibly talented artists and video producers. So they do lots of stuff in addition to the fundraising. Trying to see who am I? Oh, Julie Horiuchi. She's going to be taking our minutes for the night. So she's our secretary. And who else is on here? Is Christina Clement here? I can't see everybody.
Brooke, I think she's mentioned she might be in the waiting room. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you on it?
Oh. Do you see her, Ms. Rogers?
No, there is a video waiting room, so she should be able to get on. Mm-hmm. If not, wait, I can resend her the link.
Okay, let's see if we can get.
Who was it?
It's Christina Clement.
Okay, I can resend her the link.
Thank you. And then we have Elisa Marin, who is our assistant treasurer. So she assists Ashley with anything that needs to be done, like deposits or when we have events, things like money counting and depositing money and helping out at anything that Ashley would need her to do. Just give me 1 second. I want to make sure everybody's okay.
Sorry, Brooke, it wasn't checked. Brooke, it wasn't checked, but for some reason it did put them in the waiting room, but they should be here now.
Yeah, I see Christina is connecting, so hopefully she is.
Excuse me.
Good. Christina, when she pops on here, is actually one of our non-voting board members. Elisa is our other non-voting board member. She is our corporate sponsorship guru. So let me just double check that she's made it on. Looks like her audio is connected. Okay, if I forgot somebody yell at me. I didn't have a list to check off. So anyway, I am going to move right into introducing Ms. Rogers so she can speak to everybody about kind of the state of the school and what we're doing this year and where we're going forward, because she's always looking forward. So I will let her take it over.
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. It's so good to see you. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for taking the time out. This year, like no other, Parents are partners and we are in this together. We say we're in the same storm. We might be in different boats and it might look a little bit different, but we are definitely in the same storm. And yes, you know, it has been a different year, but really being able to celebrate all the things that our kids are being able to accomplish, all the things that you are able to do and support us with this year. I'm trying to think of the last time we had 35 people at a PTA meeting. So I'm pretty impressed with this. So yay, go us. Those are things to celebrate because we are partners in this and we couldn't do it without you, literally. And so I feel very proud to be the principal of Valentine. We are making history, and it's when this will forever be in our lives and we'll say, remember when, right? And we want to make sure that when we look back, we say, not only did we survive, but we thrived as much as we could in this, and that our kids grew and we learned and all of these opportunities presented themselves and we figured it out. And so again, just wanted to say thank you. We are excited about transitioning back, getting ready to start in-person instruction. That is still slated to go. There is a board meeting that will be happening, but right now, staff will be coming back into the building next week to prepare the building and make sure everything's ready for our students, reviewing all of our safety protocols that we have in place. I have to say, when we pivot, that's a terrible word, and people are so tired of hearing that word pivot, right, back and forth. But when we were in person, it was amazing to see all the staff and the students and the parents following those safety protocols to keep everyone safe and learning and still enjoying school, right? This is the only year they get in whatever grade they're in, and we want to make it the best year. Again, I have never seen, I think in my 22 years, kids jumping out of the car ready to go into the school, so excited. And I'm looking forward to that on February 15th. But I will continue to keep you updated and keep you informed as much as I can. But I really just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here and thank you for all that you're doing. We couldn't do it without you. Thank you, Brooke.
Thank you. We are very excited for February 15th. We really hope that happens as scheduled. So I am going to have Ms. Rogers make Ashley the host, if you don't mind, so that she can share her screen. And I hope everybody received the files that Kristen emailed out. If you didn't, it's okay. We're just following along an agenda, and Ashley will share her screen to show you kind of our oh, and she just put the link to the files on the chat, in the chat box. If you want to pull it up on your computer screen, that's an option too. Okay, so Ashley, I will turn it over to you to go through our budget versus actuals through January.
Awesome. All right, so good evening, everybody. It's nice to see everybody here. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can take a look at the budget. Okay. All right, so everybody should be seeing our budget now, I hope. So this is kind of our working budget as of January 31st. So I'm just going to kind of walk through with you money we've taken in for fundraising so far this year, and then what we have spent so far. So I'll just start with the top part. This will be all of our fundraising. And you'll notice our PTA membership dues. We brought in about $835, which is about 151 parents that have signed up to be a PTA member, which is fantastic. And we do pay a portion of that to the state PTA, and then we get to keep a portion of it for our own fundraising efforts.
Ashley, I didn't know if you wanted to, so to just put that in context, right now our current number is 913 students.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah, 913 students. So yeah, when you think about 151 people, that's great, but also we do have 915 students. So we can always do better and have more volunteers and, you know, people helping out. And I know we'll get to that a little bit later in the agenda as well. So under that, I'll talk a little bit about our fundraising and what we have been able to do this year. Like all of you know, this year is definitely different than what we're used to, but I think, you know, we are always pushing forward and trying to do whatever we can do with the situation that we're given. So you'll see we brought in money for our art fundraiser, which is actually from last spring. So those of you that have students that are not kindergartners will remember our Square One art fundraiser. We hope to do that again this spring. Fingers crossed we can get that working. So we do take in money from our art fundraiser. Also, Valentine Bears Night Out. We've had one of those this year, which brought us in some money. We hope that we can continue doing a little bit more this year, take out whatever families are comfortable with doing. Of course, our big fundraiser every year is our capital campaign. And we know this year was a lot different, and there might be a lot of families that faced unpredictable hardships. And so we are just so incredibly grateful that we were able to bring in almost $14,000 from our capital campaign that will go to things that we can provide for the school. So it is close to our budgeted goal of 15,000. So, you know, that's wonderful. Going down, we do have our Boosterthon Fun Run that will start next month in March. That $2,000 is our deposit. And so once we get the Boosterthon up and running, we hope to meet some good fundraising goals for that. We also have our school supply kits, which is a brand new fundraiser this year. It was our first year doing it. We brought in over $1,100. Fantastic. And then we hope to keep doing that year after year and really get a lot more families, you know, buying the school supply kits at the beginning of the year. Don't have to worry about going to Walmart and Target and buying school supply kits. It's all ready for you. So that's a wonderful fundraiser. We also do have our Spiritware fundraiser. We do actually have extra inventory on hand. So we made a profit from that, but we still have more to sell. So if you need your Spiritware, let us know. We got lots for you. And then of course, Yearbook is another one of our fundraisers. We brought about $1,700, a little bit more in from last year's Yearbook. This year, we are still planning on doing a yearbook, even though this, year is crazy. We are being creative and flexible, and we still will bring you a yearbook this year. Some other money that we bring in that you might not know about is Amazon Smile. So all of you guys with Amazon accounts, hook up Valentine Elementary to your Amazon account because we do get money from that. So as of today, we have about $71 from Amazon. So if you have not hooked up your Amazon account, get that going. It's a great way to contribute to the school. And then of course our rock donations. I understand, not being in school, not being able to see the rock, a little bit tricky, but we still do have that. And, it's always fun for the kids to see their name on the rock. So all that being said, this year so far, we have brought in about $16,000, a little more, $16,450 in fundraising, which is fantastic given this crazy year. Of course, we bring in that money from all of your wonderful donations. And so I'm sure you're interested in how we spend that money. Of course, we do have administrative fees that we will have to pay, like insurance, some of the licenses that we're required to hold to keep compliant as a PTA, supplies, operating supplies, things like that. So that is the money you'll see under expenses in the administrative section. More importantly, we do, of course, give back right to the classroom, right to your students, right to your teachers. So we do give back at the beginning of every single year to every single teacher, a certain amount of money, and they are allowed to, buy what they need for their classrooms to get them ready for the year. And the PTA covers that. And so we were able to spend about $900 this year, straight to the teachers. It was a little different this year, considering they're not all back in the classrooms, but it was great to be able to provide teachers things like, technology that they might need when they're teaching from home, recess equipment for the short time that we were in person, and then going back in the spring. So we're really happy to be able to provide that. We are also, the PTA provided funds for our special areas and support staff. So art department, ESL, EC, PE, music, all of our wonderful specials and support staff, we were able to provide them with funds so they were able to buy things that they needed to keep the school year going. And then of course our Nurse Greiner in our health room, we were able to provide her funds too. So you'll see all of those dollar amounts in this section here under school enrichment. Another thing I wanted to point out was Leader in Me, which we're really excited about, and I'm sure you all have heard about from your kids and sharing from Principal Rogers, but we were very excited, and a lot of our fundraising goal goes towards providing and paying for Leader in Me. So as a PTA, we were very excited to pay for next year's membership and coaching subscriptions for Leader in Me for the 21-22 school year. And that is just an amazing give back to our students and just making them become little mini leaders and really whole, well-rounded, kids. So that's one things this year that we're most excited about with our fundraising. And then of course, down at the bottom, you see, we also have provided funds to do the amazing origami assembly. I'm sure your kids had told you about it, showed you their cute little origamis that they made, but your funds and donations also go back to cultural assemblies. And that is the first one that we had this year. We were able to provide it virtually, which was awesome that we could still do it. So your money goes towards that too, and the donations. And so, we try and be very good stewards with the money, and we want to give back to our school as best we can, especially in this, crazy different time. So we're learning to be creative and go with the flow and use the money as best we can. So this is where our budget lies right now. And you'll see total expenses we spent so far in the school year about $17,000. So we are just, really grateful for all the donations that have come in, especially in this trying time. And, we are rolling with it and doing the best we can. So this is the state of our budget right now. And I'll leave this up, and I know, Kristen, I think you put it in the chat. And if anyone has any specific questions regarding our budget, I'm happy to answer any questions. Other than that, I think that's about all for me right now.
Thank you. And if you don't get if you formulate a question as we go along, we can address financial questions at the end as well. So don't feel like you have to ask those questions only now. Thank you, Ashley. As you guys can see, we're not spending as much as we normally would in a regular in-person, every day of the week school year. So we are trying to be very conservative this year. We want to do things that make sense for all of our students. We do have more than 50% of our students in the full remote academy. So we want to make sure that all the, and it is very important to us that when we spend money on something, it goes fairly towards every student. Not just the students that are in person or the students that are full remote. So that's a challenge for us, and we're getting creative and we brainstorm constantly. The board meets multiple times in a month, and we are constantly texting and emailing each other and getting creative. So we welcome feedback. We welcome ideas from anyone. Doesn't have to just be a PTA member or board member. Kids have great ideas. Other parents have great ideas. You may know somebody in another school system that's doing something really cool. We love to hear about that. So always, always, always reach out to us with ideas or feedback. If you don't think something we're doing is great or a good use of funds, we want to hear that too. Speaking of funds, I am going to toss the baton again over to Christina Clement. She's going to give Christina Clement and Tom and Wendy Law are our fundraising gurus, as I mentioned at the beginning. So I just want them to just kind of go through what fundraising is to us and our school and our PTA, and give you kind of a little bit more detail on that. So I'll give it to Christina first, and then she can hand it off to Tom.
Okay. Hi, sorry I was late. I had trouble getting in the waiting room. Can you hear me now? Okay, wonderful. I'm Christina Clement. I have a third grader and a second grader at Valentine Elementary School. And what I do this year is fundraising. I've done other things. My speaker's not working. Oh no.
Christina, you're a little bit choppy.
Maybe just get nice and close to your microphone because you're kind of far away.
I
So
think
maybe
that's what it is.
just try to get a little close. Oh, you're muted.
Now you're muted.
Muted.
I'm gonna get a shirt that says that. You're on mute.
You are on mute. Welcome to 2021.
We like the smile though.
You're muted still. Oh
She
no.
put in the chat box to have Tom go first.
Okay, Tom, you take it away.
All right, so I just wanted to jump into just some fundraising initiatives that are coming up. We currently have our booster fund run, which is going to take place in the first part of March, like it usually does, and we are going to have an in-person fun run this year, and it's just going to be slightly modified. And then we're also going to have a dance fit option for our full virtual remote students. And just wanted to say that the booster group has been just very supportive and gracious in working with us during this situation in the pandemic. And we've just worked really hard to try to get them involved and to make this a fun event like it usually is for the students. The booster team, they bring a lot of fun and excitement and enthusiasm that really just gets the kids going. I know there's been talks about a yearbook this year, if we're going to do a yearbook or not. And I would like to tell everybody that we will be doing a yearbook. We're actually switching vendors this year. We're going with a company called Tree Ring, and they are a print-on-demand company. So essentially what you would do is sign up for Tree Ring, start an account, and then you can purchase your yearbook straight through them, and they'll mail it directly to you. And this year, there's kind of a little bit of a twist where you can actually personalize that yearbook to your students. So there are 2 pages that you can personally customize completely free. Add whatever photos of your students that you want, or create a collage, or whatever it is you want. And that will be a custom print and a custom book that is sent out directly to you. And that's pretty much the updates I have on fundraising. So keep an eye out for any emails coming from Tree Ring, or if your teachers are talking about Tree Ring, you kind of know what's going on. And also, we're going to need photos of students as well. So there's going to be a lot of participation. So if you want your student to be in the yearbook in their classroom page, we're gonna set up a portal for you to upload your student photos for the yearbook. And I think Christina's back with audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? No? Oh, you can. Okay, good.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah,
Okay.
loud and clear.
All right, awesome. Okay, so I'm Christina and I'm doing fundraising this year. I've done a couple other things in the past, but this year I'm in charge of corporate sponsorship, and I'll get to that. But first, I just want to tell you a little bit about how the fundraising works at Valentine Elementary. We do have our largest campaign that we do through the school is probably the Capital campaign, and we simply ask for donations from the family. We never make families go through the uncomfortable, situation of asking somebody to buy candles or wrapping paper. We just ask that you donate something. And that's kind of the simplest way to get the most bang for your buck as far as what you put into something and how much the school gets back. Also, as Tom just talked about, we have the fun run, and that's coming up. And we also do make a fair amount from the fun run. For every fundraiser that Valentine does, we try and do at least 3 give backs, and those would be some of the more fun events like bingo night. See, what else do I have here? You think I could think of more things. We do a lot of fun things. Popcorns. Ladies, can you help me out here?
Yeah,
Movie night.
Father, daughter, and mother, son events.
Yes. See, it's
which-
been a weird year, obviously. We haven't been able to do a lot of the things that we typically do because of COVID. So working with that. But this year, because of Leader and Me, we started the corporate sponsorship, which I've kind of been trying to get going, where we are looking to make ourselves known a little bit more in the community and be able to raise money from, being, I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to say here, just working with people in the community who we can promote them and they can promote us, just partnerships in the community. So that has been a big endeavor this year for us because I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time.
Well, I was just going to add in there, Christina. So with Leader and Me, as you guys know, and you've learned about it, is through Stephen Covey and that 7 habits that some of you have actually probably been trained in at your work, typically cost a school about $50,000 to implement that. And typically that's found in magnet schools or private schools. And we are one of the first public schools to do it, and to do it at a discounted rate because we're the first school in North Carolina to be doing the on-demand version of Leader and Me, which is where we learn it, we're trained, our staff is trained, and then we train each other, and then we implement it. And so again, we've got this amazing program, school-wide transformation. Everybody from the secretaries to the teachers to the custodians go into receive training and professional development, which has been so beneficial this year, focusing on things that we can control. And then what Christina and the PTA is really wanting to do and working really hard at is tapping into our Valentine community and our corporate partnerships to provide that funding for us each year so that we can continue this journey that we're on. And so Christina has been working really hard at getting that created and starting to tap our partners out into the Valentine community. So that is our goal that we're working on. So Christina, did I say that okay?
Yeah, you said that a lot more eloquent than I am right now.
We're a team. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, so we're working on that. If you know any companies that would be interesting in making our community and making our school a better place, please let me know, let the PTA know. And yeah, that's about it for me.
I got to give Meredith Bates a shout out though, because she just said, sounds like a win-win. Somebody's using that Leader and Me language. I love it. Yay.
That's
Awesome.
right. That's right. It's a great opportunity for our kids to teach us some things too, which I think is really cool. One of the things I wanted to mention from fundraising too, it happens to be happening right at this moment, which is our book fair. Last year when we did a survey, of students and parents about what they like that the PTA does. Like what things do you think are valuable that we do, that you enjoy, that you attend, that you participate in? And the book fair was the #1 thing, which we were really excited about because we love book fair too. So we actually have our 2 book fair chairs on the call. One of them happens to be Super Nana. She's my mom, Joanne Jellison, and another fearless leader who used to be on the PTA board is Janine Lanier. So she is a 5th grader this year, and they're doing a great job trying to keep us rolling with virtual book fairs this year. And it's going on now. You know, if your teacher has sent out an e-wallet, that means they want to supply their classroom with some books. So if you have some spare money laying around and can donate to your teacher's e-wallet, that goes directly to the classrooms, and for years to come, obviously. And get your kids involved. You know, we have some new virtual tools that Scholastic has offered for us this time, even better than it was in the fall. So let your kids shop around, let your kids tell you what kind of books they like, and you know, promote that love of reading. We want to keep doing that. So so thank you for the synopsis on our fundraising. And again, if you have questions about what we're doing or how we're doing it or why we're doing it, please let us know either tonight or any other time. Look at my, okay, so we're going to move on to talking about just some of the events. Sorry, Nikki, is this the last book fair of the year? Theoretically, we are, if we go back in person for the end of the year, we are able to do a BOGO if we want to. We unfortunately cannot do a BOGO virtually. So this would theoretically be our last full-fledged fair of the school year. And we typically do have 2 full fairs and 1 BOGO if we do a 3rd fair. So so that's kind of normal for the school year. And these aren't, you know, these aren't the big fundraising book fairs we've had when they're in person, but they're something, and they're promoting that the love of books, right, and reading. So so anyway, we'll move on to talking about, oh, sorry. So yeah, if your teacher has an e-wallet, they should be sending it to you via Blooms, if that's how they contact you. And if they haven't sent you one, feel free to ask them about it. We want the teachers to create those because it's an opportunity. You know, maybe you're not going to buy books for your student at home because you don't want any more books cluttering your bookshelves. But you're willing to give, you know, $5, $10, $15, $20 to the teacher to get books for her classroom, and that's still a valuable thing. So
Yes, please email your teacher if they have not let you know about the e-wallet. Our teachers, as you can see, when PTA supports them and gives them classroom funds and stuff, I have to go around because they don't ask for things. And I'm like, no, we want to help, we want to give, or they're so busy and then they just buy them themselves. And I'm like, no, don't buy them. Parents want to help out and give where they can. So please, so if they've not emailed you about that e-wallet, ask them about it and say, hey, thank you.
Yes, our sweet teachers, they often feel like they don't want to ask us to help them, but we know that most of you really do want to help. So, and yes, sorry, Joanne has mentioned that Kristen Berry is also a major key player in why these virtual fairs are so successful. And honestly, we were told by Scholastic that Valentine had one of the most successful virtual fairs in the fall. And that is a big part of that is because Kristen Berry is an amazing Facebooker and book fair wizard at keeping us on track. She does something every day and she goes above and beyond. So I will pass it along to Kristen. She's going to talk to us about our events that we're trying to plan for this spring. So I'll let her go. Give it.
Thank you so much for the shout out. Although no, it is all Janine and Joanne doing everything in the background. They just feed me the information and you all just have to sift through it as I type it for you. I'm going to go through some of the events, like Christina had talked about. For every fundraiser that we do, we try to give as many givebacks to the community as possible. This year obviously has been a little bit of a challenge because we do want to reach 100% of our student body. And with half of them or over half of them being in full remote, that makes it a little harder. Everybody's comfort level is different. And also with things changing very, very quickly, it's hard to spend a large capital outlay that we might not be able to get back if we have to cancel. So it's been a little more challenging, and we've had to get a little more creative. But here is kind of what is on the docket right now. Like I said, since fundraising has been down, which was expected, we don't want to spend as much money as we spent in the past on events, to be more fiscally conservative this year. So finding something that is cost effective for both our in-person students, our full remote academy students, has been a little bit tricky. But hopefully we will, be put on the path of normalcy here soon, and our events can come back the way we know and love them. Last week, our origami artist, which we touched on before, was fined by Miss Zielinski and Robin McLaurin. And all of the feedback we have gotten, people have reached out on email and on Facebook and on text. And when I see them out walking, and everybody has been so very complimentary of the work that the origami artist did, and something, it was out of the ordinary, something the kids looked forward to. So we would really like to do something else similar to that can garner as much excitement out of the kids, because really that's what we do it for. The one thing that we have on the docket is an extreme science virtual assembly. It's currently in the planning stages. We're working on getting a date together that works for them, that works for us, that works for the school. Having to work with all of the different schedules can sometimes be challenging, and especially because those schedules like to change all the time with different guidance. Another thing that we have been looking at, and that was in that same survey that Brooke talked about in popularity, a lot of people love our bingo events. Bingo's a little bit harder to do right now because we don't really have a huge space that can keep people separated, and prizes and touching chips and all of the components to bingo that makes it harder. But Emily, our special events chair, had come up with the idea to do an outdoor bingo and combine it with a food truck event. Earlier this year, I had put out a survey asking for Bears Night Outs and what types of Bears Night Out events everybody would be interested in. And one of the write-ins that seemed to get a lot of popularity was a food truck day. So we thought we would take bingo, which was popular, and food truck, which was popular, and kind of put them together. So right now it is in early planning stages. We're looking towards late March. We are working with Elevation Church to possibly use their parking lot. It doesn't work for other events like our carnival or things like that, because they have a lot of barriers and trees and planters and flower beds kind of stuck right in the middle. But for a bingo event, it's got a lot of space where we can get more people than our parking lots, and everybody can be more safely distanced. It would be a free event, so a total give back. The only thing that would not be free would obviously be any purchases that you made from the food trucks that we had on standby. And that would be more of a give back just to support those businesses, because they're hurting too. They normally pull into corporate parks that now don't have anybody in them. And so just like our community supports us, we want to support those businesses in the community. So it's a win-win, using my words, for everybody. So we will communicate more in the Bear Blast and Facebook and in Principal Rogers Connect Eds when we have a more concrete date for that. The other thing that we have gotten a lot of questions on, both from this year and from last year's parents, are the 5th grade events. So last year we weren't able to close out the year very well for our 5th graders. And then this year it's, sitting kind of on the rocks of what we can and cannot do. So we are looking at still doing something that would be able to possibly include last year's students so that they could at least get a little bit of their farewell in, as well as this year's students. Our very own Robin McLaurin is going to be heading up our committee right now, because she has our 5th grader on the board. And so she is looking into trying to put something together that both respects everybody's sense of safety right now, but also bids those bears farewell, because like Principal Rogers always says, we have them for the longest and we do want to give them a proper send off. So we will also communicate on that when we have more information. If anybody has any suggestions for how something like that could work, or other events, or how the bingo event could work, we are very open to hearing those suggestions. We are just, a group of 10 out of the 913 kids. So we know there have to be better ideas or other ideas that we would like to entertain out there. So we're continually looking for input, whether it's here, whether it's emailing us through the PTA emails, whether it's the Facebook page, whether it's just running into one of us, because I know everybody at least here knows one of us, to be able to give us some feedback. The only other thing that we have on our docket, like we normally do, is being able to support our staff. So we normally do much more with our hospitality than we were able to do this year, because they aren't in the building either. And so hopefully, if they're coming back into the building next week, and if it hopefully sticks, we will be able to find ways to safely spoil them like we normally do, and boost their morale, because just like the parents and just like the kids, and we're all kind of at the bottom of that parabola right now, and everybody needs just a little bit to get them through where we're at right now. So I think that's it for events that are on the horizon. But again, if anybody has any questions, comments, suggestions, you're welcome to put them in the chat now or get them to us another way. Okay, I will hand it back to Brooke then.
Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome.
See everybody, we're trying as hard as we can over here. The lonely PTA. Okay, well, one of the things, it's the kind of the time of year that we have to talk about this, and unfortunately we are having, the strangest school year of our existence, and I hope our entire existence. I hope we don't have to do this again. But the PTA is a volunteer organization, and it needs help, and it needs people willing to jump in and do things they maybe aren't comfortable with, or things they don't know how to do right away and have to learn on the fly. So I just want to kind of appeal to all of you tonight, and if there's someone you think of as we're sitting here talking that isn't on tonight for whatever reason, certainly clue them in about what's needed and where we're going from here. I'm going to actually ask a few of our board members to talk to you about kind of why they joined the PTA board and why they think that role in their child's school is important. So I'm going to start, I think, with Ashley, if you don't mind going first.
Sure, I would love to. Yeah, so, I will say being on the PTA and the board has been such an amazing experience. My first initial thought was, when my son was in kindergarten, he's in second grade now, I was like, if he's going to be spending 7 hours at this school, I at least want to know what's going on. I want to know who the teachers are, who the staff are, want to make sure he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. And so that was my first, reaction. But then after having volunteered so much at the school, it's just, become so important to me to make sure my kids and, the other kids in his class or at the school, see me serving and volunteering and being in that role just because I want to, and I feel like it's important, and not because it's my job and I'm getting paid to do it. I think it's so important for our kids to be able to see us doing that and stepping up and stepping in and, working to make their place better. And for, all those people that might be nervous to volunteer or just think, gosh, I don't have the time or whatnot, You know, I had initially signed on to be the assistant treasurer when my son Carter was in first grade. And then about an hour before we were voting members in, I got a frantic call that the treasurer before me was moving and can you please be the treasurer right away? And so I was like, sure, you know, just jumping in, not thinking about it, not planning for it. I just said yes. And, you know, it has been a great experience because when you jump into volunteering, especially on this board, you're not doing it alone. You know, we all collaborate together. So it's not like we're going to hand you a role and be like, good luck, see you at the next meeting. It's very much teamwork and we all support each other and we're all here to answer questions and, you know, help each other. I also have a preschooler and I teach part-time at her preschool also. So I think if you have just even a little bit of the want to like volunteer, it is doable. It's totally doable. You know, it's not like it's this big 40-hour-a-week volunteer commitment. It's not. And, you know, Brooke is so good about being, you know, telling us do what you can when you can do it. I mean, we're all going to work together to get it done. You know, and I just think especially now it's so important for the kids to see you volunteering and, you know, stepping up and, you know, at the end of the day, somebody's got to do the work. And we are one of the most desirable elementary schools in the district. And we are that for a reason. It's because we have such great parental involvement and we want to continue that. You know, we don't want that to lag behind. So I would just really, you know, encourage you to think about it. If you had ever even thought a little bit about volunteering, you know, at the school and being on the board or doing whatever you can, whatever you feel like your talents are, you know, I would definitely encourage you to think about it and definitely for next year, because we need those people that will step up and, you know, keep this school running as great as Principal Rogers runs it and partnering with her and, you know, just doing what we can from a parent's perspective. So that's all for me. You know, I just encourage you all to think about it and see if you're willing to be a part of our crazy board or PTA in any capacity. So.
Yeah, I should mention, thank you, Ashley, for sharing that. I should mention that we're typically the positions run for 2 years. If you're able to give 2 years, you don't have to. You know, you're not like signing your life away when you are voted in, but we do typically do a 2-year rotation. And there is a large number of us that are finishing up a 2-year rotation. So we have a lot of positions on the board that are opening for the next school year and beyond. And, you know, not that those of us that are leaving a 2-year rotation don't want to continue to be involved, but at the same time, I feel as though you shouldn't want me to still be the PTA president. You know what I mean? I've done this for 2 years. I have a very strange story about how I ended up here. But I have a 4th grader. So next year he'll be in 5th grade. And then if I continue on as PTA president for a 3rd term, when I leave, everything I've learned and all the relationships I've built with staff and parents at the school and teachers and, you know, the community at large goes with me, unfortunately. So, so those of you with younger children or that will be at the school for a lot longer than I will, you know, we want you to consider thinking about stepping into some of these roles because we need you desperately to continue, you know, all that we've built so far. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Robin. Robin McLaurin is fearless when it comes to volunteering. I don't know how many organizations she volunteers for, but I know it's a very large number. And she works full time. She has 2 amazing children, daughters, and she's kind of our, you know, mama bear on the board this year because she's been there the longest and she is the oldest child. So we look to her for a lot of advice. So I'm going to let her speak. She's going to tell you a little bit about her story.
Yeah, thank you, Brooke. I appreciate it. And apparently I misunderstood the serve for 2 years and I'm going on like what, blah, blah, 10? No, I don't know.
Oh, that's just for each position. 2 years
No,
for
I
each
know.
position.
I'm just
Yeah.
playing. I just kept going.
Yeah.
I will say that it's very interesting. And the reason why we like to talk to you all about our experiences is because I think they're all different and unique, and how we kind of came to be on the board at Valentine. It's all, for different reasons. And my oldest is actually at Community House. So she's an 8th grader. So I'm going to have a high schooler next year. And then I've got a 5th grader, Eliza. And when I started, there was a need. They put out a call for communications help. And I picked up the phone and called and said, I'd be happy to help out. What can you explain the position? And the next thing you know, I had the position. And I really was just trying to find out information on the position. But I'm so glad I did, because it turned into me just offering my help to try to fill a need, to really feeling like I'm a part of this community and this Valentine family. I absolutely, every event, every teacher, every time we get together, you have that sense of family and community, and your kids feel it. They really feel it. My kids think every single board member is like an extended parent. They love it when they see them in the halls, and when we're out there picking up trash at the school together, and when we're planting plants, and the other kids that are all, our children have become friends. And so it really is this extension of a wonderful school becoming an opportunity to get to know other families, becoming an opportunity for your children to see you leading, to see you volunteering, to getting to know other kids. And it just blossoms into this beautiful thing. And so I definitely encourage anybody to call us, talk to us, let us know what you think. If you're interested in serving at all, if you just want to ask a question about it, or if you know people who have expressed an interest, to reach out. It surprised me how much I love it, even though it is a lot of work at times. And the sense of family, and I've thought about this more than once. Next year, when I go on to Community House in AK, if I don't get a phone call to come help out an event, I'll be wounded. So like, you might still see me here and there, because it really is an important thing that we're doing. We really are building the best possible place for our kids to learn and to grow. And so I appreciate everything that Principal Rogers has done, that the teachers have done, that this board has done, and that all of you as parents have done. And just being here tonight shows your commitment. So we appreciate you guys. And hopefully some of you will give us a call and let us know what you think, and ask questions about being on the board.
Definitely. Thank you, Robin. I do want Tom to speak as well, but I just wanted to let you guys know kind of why this is another reason why it's important to keep our PTA board going. We are a PTA, not a PTO, so we have much stricter rules in terms of how we operate, but at the same time, we have a lot more support from our county, state, and national PTA. So if we ever got into a situation where we needed their assistance, they would be willing to help us. So that's kind of what makes a PTA different than a PTO. But because of that, if we don't have specifically a president, treasurer, and secretary sitting on our board, we cannot operate as a PTA. We will lose our charter from the state, and our bank account goes to zero. So we don't have millions of dollars. We're not that kind of PTA. But we do have, I think Ashley has a bank balance of about $50,000 minus the Leader in Me check that we just cut this week. So I don't want to lose that. I certainly don't think any of you want us to lose that. So, we do have a lot of board positions. We currently have 10 people sitting on our board. One is a husband and wife team. So they are a single position, single vote, but they do work together, and they certainly do the work of more than 2 people. So we have a large board because we have a very active PTA, and we do a lot of things, and we want to do a lot of things. But at the very least, we need to have a president, treasurer, and secretary. And right now, the treasurer and the president are finishing up our 2-year term. So those are two main positions that absolutely need to be filled for the next school year. And Julie has done a secretary position. This is her first year, so she has 1 more year to fulfill that role. But we also have a VP of communications that is finishing up her 2nd year. We have our fundraising team, Tom and Wendy, that are finishing up their 2nd year. We have our VP of programs who is graduating, Valentine Elementary. So we have a lot of opportunities on our board. And they are for all types of people. I will tell you that 2 years ago, when I sat in a PTA meeting in an actual media center in person, but nonetheless, a similar meeting to this, almost exactly 2 years ago, we were in the same exact position. They didn't have people to fill those roles. And I thought, well, I've got to be better than nobody, right? I'm certainly not the type of person that was born to be the PTA president. If you knew me at all, you'd know that was true. But I have 9 other people and Miss Rogers, and all the teachers and all the staff members at the school have our back. So I've never once felt like I was on an island. I've never once felt like I couldn't do the job. And there are struggles and there are stresses, and it is sometimes challenging, but also, as other people have said, it's so rewarding. And to be honest, I think my kids have benefited the most from it. So I'm really grateful for the opportunity that presented itself. And Maria Rochelle is on this call, and I'm sure she's chuckling right now thinking about how that meeting went, because she was the president at the time when that meeting happened. So we all came around to this position in a different way, but equally find it very, very rewarding. So I do want Tom Law to speak. He's our single only man on the board, and he takes very, very good care of us. He goes to get us lunch when we've been having a long day at an event, and he does all kinds of things. If we ask him to do it, he does it, and he never complains. So I want him to talk because I think he has a really interesting point of view as the only man on our board, and let him share what he thinks.
I think, Brooke, thank you so much. You guys have done a great job just talking about your experiences and everything. And I don't know how I am going to follow everything that you guys have said. But I'm Tom, and it's my wife, Wendy. We, like most people who move to the area, we're transplant. We're not, originally from here. We'd actually lived in the area for 10 years before. I mean, we've been living in the area for 10 years and knew absolutely nobody at all. 10 years is a long time to go through life not knowing anybody and being in a new city and continuing to feel like you're, the new people in the group. And Brooke actually lives across the street from us and never really talked to her. But I just wanted to say that when our son Bruce was in kindergarten, starting kindergarten, he's now in 2nd grade. We decided, well, we don't have any friends. I know it's kind of sad. We don't have any friends. He really didn't have any friends. Maybe it's time for us to just take a leap of faith and just step out of our comfort zone and get to know people. And the best way we figured that was to join the PTA. We joined and just dove right in. And just as everybody has said on this call, like the feeling of the community, we all have each other's back. It's just, we've grown really close to all these board members and everybody we've met. And it's gone beyond just, okay, these are the people that we have common interests with. These are the same people that care about the school and that care about our kids. It's really become I'm really proud to say that I think of everybody on this board as a dear friend, and that they would just drop anything to do, favors for you. Many times where we've had emergencies and we'd had to drop our kids off with Brooke or Ashley, and vice versa. So, I mean, beyond the school, beyond that, I believe that these guys are lifelong friends. That's it.
Awesome. Yes, I've lived across the street from Tom and Wendy for I don't even know how many years, and I did not ever even see Wendy in person until I joined the PTA. So I'm really, really grateful for new friendships and friendships that were started popping popcorn and have developed into everyday chit chatting on text messages and things like that. So we are a little family. We might be a little band of misfits, but we do really care about each other, and we have a lot of fun together. So I will say also that one of the main benefits to being on the PTA board is just incredible access to your school. Ms. Rogers is probably above and beyond in terms of wanting to partner with parents. She's full in. She wants our help just as much as we want her help. So if that's something that maybe motivates you a little bit, if you're kind of one of those parents that really likes to know what's going on behind the scenes, that's an added perk, I think, to being on the board, is that you really do feel like you're part of the school family as well. So anyway, I just wanted to kind of put that all out there. We wanted a nice big turnout tonight for lots of reasons, and this is obviously one of them. So I really, really appreciate you guys all. Nobody wants to get on a Zoom call at 7 o'clock on a Monday night when it's been raining for 2 weeks or whatever in the middle of the winter. This isn't fun for anybody, I know. Let's think of the small benefits. We didn't have to get babysitters, and we didn't have to leave the house in this terrible weather. So there are some benefits, but I really do appreciate you guys all taking an hour or more out of your night to do this with us. If anybody has questions or comments or thoughts, place them in the chat box or send us a note on our various communication channels, Facebook and email, things like that. Please read the Bear Blast, because Kristen works awful hard on that thing, and it's got an awful lot of information in it. And shop the book fair. And if anybody else has anything they want to say, feel free to unmute yourself.
Can I say something? Please.
Yeah. Hey, Christina.
I just wanted to say kind of my experience with the PTA, not just on the board, but in general. I grew up here in Charlotte. I'm a product of CMS. And I really I know that PTAs, they are the gap, and not just people who are on the board, but the PTA, the people who donate the money, the people who donate their time to the kids and to better the school. That is what takes the school from being good, from being okay, to taking it to the next level. And the PTA really does provide that extra bit of money that CMS just doesn't have. We wouldn't have the things we have without the PTA. And that's not just us on the board. That's the people who give their time, who give their money, who participate in the fundraisers. And I'm not going to be here next year. I'm moving away. I'm very sad about that, but I just don't want the PTA to be dissolved, because if it is, then we're going to lose a lot more than just a group of people. It really is something that betters our school, betters our children, and long-term betters our community. And so I just wanted to add that. I mean, it's great to be on the board. I love all you guys. It's a lot of fun, but it's also, for me, really about, the kids and what it offers them.
Well said, Christina. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, she's one of the very few people in town that actually went to Charlotte Mecklenburg schools growing up. So there's Hillary. Yep, Hillary and Ashley graduated from Providence High. We have a couple of you out there, but not too many. But Christina's absolutely right. This is, our school is amazing, but it is extra amazing because we have so much support from our community, and we don't want that to go away. So please keep doing what you're doing. Certainly, something is better than nothing. So yeah, so I want to open it up. If anybody else has anything they want to shout, please unmute yourself. But again, I just want to thank you guys all for taking your time and listening and thinking about it. Even if you're just thinking about, heck no, I could never be on a PTA. That's fine. But please know that we do need you, and we do appreciate you, and you do have talents, and you do have a little bit of time somewhere in your back pockets. So any of it is very, very appreciated. So thank you. And I'm going to adjourn the meeting so that poor Julie can stop taking minutes. Julie, did you want to say anything? I didn't let you talk because you were so ferociously making notes over there. Are you good? All right. Well, if anybody,
I guess I could say just a real quick thing. I accepted this role and I was really honored, actually, super touched when Brooke reached out and said, would you like to be secretary? And I just thought, wow, I went from helping out in the book fair to being secretary, and I have no clue what I'm doing. And everybody puts up with my really bad note taking, but everybody helps, and it's just a great group. And I really have no idea what I'm doing as secretary. So
you do too.
I'm proof that you can join and you can help, and nobody's judging, and everybody just really appreciates your help. So I hope that's the case.
Yeah.
I know that's the case.
Thank you. Okay, so we've got some thank yous coming in through the chat, so we really appreciate that. We've got people saying they'll help. Love it.
I want to say thank you to Brooke for leading this meeting. Thank you to the PTA board. Thank you for all the parents that attended. I appreciate all of your support, and we truly are a team, so thank you.
Thank you. You've been amazing, Ms. Rogers. Thank you. All right, well, I will let you guys all go. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, and reach out to us anytime, and we will be in touch. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.